What's the most harmful lie your child has ever been taught in school? My second-grade daughter Mia came home last spring, crying because she'd walked past a baby bird that had fallen out of its nest on the playground. I didn't touch it because Mrs. Bennett said if you touch a baby bird, its mom will abandon it forever because of your human scent, she said, sobbing that the bird would die alone. My heart broke. I'm a senior wildlife biologist with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I've spent 15 years studying birds, and this lie has led to thousands of baby birds dying needlessly. I sat Mia down and gently explained that birds have a terrible sense of smell, and a parent bird will almost never abandon a baby just because a human touched it. The best thing to do is put the baby back in its nest if you can. Mia shook her head, frowning. But Mrs. Bennett showed us a whole science video. She said it's a fact. That night, I sent Mrs. Bennett an email, asking if I could do a 15-minute presentation for their class during their animal unit the next day. She wrote back right away, thrilled to have a real wildlife expert speak to the kids that I packed my bag with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's official Kids Wildlife Guide, ornithology textbook data on bird sense of smell, and the New York State Science Standards for elementary school. When I walked into the classroom, 25 kids stared up at me, their desks covered in fairy stickers and construction paper drawings. Mrs. Bennett introduced me as Mia's dad, who works with wild animals for a living. I heard you all learned about baby birds this week, I said, and the whole class nodded enthusiastically. Mrs. Bennett beamed from the back. I started with the truth. Birds have an extremely limited sense of smell, and human scent is completely undetectable to almost all songbirds. I explained that the myth started decades ago to keep kids from touching baby birds, but it's led to countless babies dying when kids don't help them get back to their nest. Mrs. Bennett's smile faded. She started shifting in her seat, clearing her throat every few seconds, as I pulled up the state science standards, which explicitly labels the abandoned baby bird myth as a misconception to correct. When a kid raised their hand and pointed to their 1998 science textbook that printed the lie, I explained that our understanding of bird biology has advanced a lot in 26 years. Mrs. Bennett suddenly cut me off, saying we needed to move on to art class. That night, Mia came home crying, holding a pop quiz with a big red F scrolled on the top. The first question: what happens if you touch a baby bird? Mia had written, its mom won't abandon it, because birds can't smell human scent, and it was marked wrong. Mrs. Bennett had written in the margin, we learned the correct answer in class. I scheduled a meeting with the principal, bringing printouts of the USFWS guidelines, state science standards, ornithology data, and Mia's quiz. When we sat down, Mrs. Bennett crossed her arms and snapped, I've been teaching for 29 years. This is what the textbook says, and it keeps the kids from bothering wild animals. I leaned forward, my voice tight. You taught my daughter a lie that made her feel guilty for letting a baby bird die, then punished her for knowing the truth. That's not teaching. It's misinformation that hurts wildlife. 2 weeks later, the school replaced their outdated science textbooks. Mrs. Bennett was required to complete mandatory wildlife education professional development. On Mia's next report card, she wrote, excellent critical thinking skills, but when I signed up to lead the school's nature club, my request was denied. Now, every time Mia learns something new at school, she turns to me and asks, Dad, is this real, or just a Mrs. Bennett fact?